In the small town of Qunu in South Africa, Nelson Mandela was born, a man who would change the destiny of an entire country. From a young age, he saw the injustices of the apartheid system, which divided people by skin color and denied basic rights to millions. With a resolute spirit and generous heart, Mandela chose to fight that oppression. He earned a law degree and began defending the rights of black South Africans, denouncing segregation and institutionalized violence. His voice became a beacon amid the darkness of racism and imposed silence. Through passionate speeches and organized actions, Mandela emerged as one of the biggest threats to the segregationist regime. He called on people to resist peacefully, but also to be ready for firmer struggle, if needed. The liberties we take for granted exist because someone fought to win them, he said in his talks, which filled stadiums and inspired crowds. The government, fearing Mandela's growing influence, started to persecute him. His words were seen as subversive and dangerous. Despite threats, Mandela never backed down. To him, silence was a prison more oppressive than physical bars. In 1962, Mandela was arrested on charges many deemed unjust. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for conspiring against the state. But for him, the cell was not the end, it was the beginning of a new fight. He was sent to Robben Island Prison, a dark and isolated place where political prisoners were kept in degrading conditions. There, attempts to erase him included forced labor, mistreatment, and isolation. But Mandela, with his unshakable strength, turned the prison into a place of resistance. He studied, wrote, and kept in touch with the outside world through letters and secret messages, which carried the flame of hope beyond the walls. "I am the master of my fate," he wrote, "even when the world tries to silence me." As Mandela endured, his name became a global symbol of the fight against apartheid. International organizations pressured for his release and the end of racial segregation in South Africa. His steps were confined, but his voice remained free, crossing borders and inspiring generations. Arriving at Robben Island, Mandela felt isolated and abandoned. Surrounded by the sea and high walls, the island seemed like a place where hope should die. But Mandela did not come to surrender. His cell was small, damp, and cold. Guards called him only by number, trying to erase his identity. He and other political prisoners faced forced labor, humiliation, and harsh conditions, but they kept their dignity. Mandela knew that resisting with the body was not enough. The mind had to remain free. So he organized debates among prisoners, studied philosophy, politics, and history. Knowledge became his weapon against oppression. Within prison, Mandela naturally became a leader. His calm, courage, and determination inspired everyone around him, even on the hardest days. They developed. In prison, Mandela faced not only physical burden, but the daily fight to keep faith in justice and freedom alive. He understood that prison was a silent battlefield where victory would come not through weapons, but through perseverance and truth. For years, Mandela wrote about reconciliation and unity, even in the midst of brutal segregation. He believed South Africa's future would only be possible through dialogue and mutual respect. Meanwhile, Mandela's reputation grew beyond prison walls. International campaigns demanded his release, and his image became a global symbol for human rights. Though physically isolated, Mandela was more connected than ever to the liberation movement. His mind, words, and example continued to lead thousands who dreamed of a free and just South Africa. Even in the darkness of Robben Island, Mandela's voice never fell silent. On the contrary, it echoed stronger, bringing light to an entire nation. In the silence of prison, Nelson Mandela discovered a powerful tool for continuing his fight: writing. The letters he sent and received became invisible bridges between him and the outside world, vehicles of hope and strategy. Each letter carried more than words. It held the strength of resistance, the courage of a people, and the vision of a future free from apartheid. Carefully composed to avoid censorship, they held deep meaning for those who received them. Mandela wrote to world leaders, ANC members, his family, and the South African people, sharing unwavering faith, determination, and a vision of reconciliation. Inside prison, guards tried to control everything, but they could not contain the impact of Mandela's words. Letters copied and secretly circulated among activists increased pressure on the apartheid regime. These letters inspired protests, demonstrations, and boycott campaigns that spread worldwide. The fight against racial segregation transcended borders, becoming a global cause. Mandela knew that behind bars, his voice could be more powerful than any armed revolt. Writing let his message surpass walls, cross oceans, and reach the hearts of millions.